here on the Currituck Outer Banks in northeastern North Carolina. There is no app for this.
Tonight, breaking news on the brink of a trade war. President Trump's threats against China sending shockwaves around the globe. The news rocking the stock market and your 401k. Plus, the new sanctions on Russia targeting those close to Putin. Coast-to-coast storms, the tornado watch at this hour. Snow, rain, and record cold for much of the country. Backstage brawl, UFC champ Conor McGregor charged with assault. Video showing him throwing a dolly at a bus full of fighters. Also tonight, the driver who sped right into a police station, crashing through a wall. Why authorities say this was no accident. Reunited, the Menendez brothers, Lyle and Eric, convicted of killing their parents, face to face for the first time in more than 2 decades. And nightmare at sea, the vacation outrage. We'll take you on board a cruise ship that passengers say felt like a floating construction zone.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
And good evening, and it's great to have you with us on a busy Friday night. I'm Tom Yamas, in for David. And we begin tonight with growing fears of a new trade war. The U.S. and China back and forth with threats of tariffs on one another, with American farmers, tech companies, and manufacturers caught in the middle. After the first round of tariffs from each side, President Trump now threatening import taxes on $100 billion more of goods from China. And fueling those fears tonight, Treasury Secretary Mnuchin admitting the potential of a trade war is real, and the president saying Americans could feel some pain. The news rocking the stock market, the Dow losing nearly 600 points. ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl starts us off from the White House.
A brutal day on Wall Street. Stocks tumbling after President Trump escalated his threats towards China. Today, the president acknowledged his trade policy may cause pain.
So I'm not saying there won't be a little pain, but the market's gone up 40%, 42%, so we might lose a little bit of it. But we're going to have a much stronger country when we're finished.
Global markets have been battered since the president first announced plans to hit China with $50 billion in tariffs.
If they charge us, we charge them the same thing. That's the way it's got to be.
This week, China fired back, threatening $50 billion in tariffs on American products, everything from soybeans to cars to airplanes. It could cost thousands of American jobs. American farmers could be hit especially hard. As markets tumbled, the president's new top economic advisor set out to calm nerves.
We're not running a trade war. If you read this thing, you'll see this is just a proposed idea.
That reassured Wall Street, but just hours later, President Trump turned up the heat again, announcing $100 billion in additional tariffs against China. Enter today the Treasury Secretary.
There is the potential of a trade war, and let me just be clear, it's not a trade war. The president wants reciprocal trade.
So what now? Well, just last month, the president himself said the United States has been treated so badly for so long on trade that, quote, trade wars are good and easy to win.
Does the president think that trade wars are easy to win? Is that still his view?
I think the president feels like if he is in charge of those negotiations, absolutely.
And John Karl joins us from the White House tonight. And John, the president's top economic advisor calls the tariffs just a proposed idea, but you're not hearing that kind of language from the president himself.
Well, Tom, it is true that tariffs have not gone into effect yet. The process could take a couple of months, leaving time to negotiate. But the president sure seems dug in on this, and so do the Chinese. As a Chinese government spokesman said today, we are not afraid to fight a trade war. Tom?
John Karl starting us off tonight. John, thank you. Next, the White House divided over the fate of EPA Chief Scott Pruitt as the cloud of scandal is growing around him. The latest after he denied he knew anything about big staff raises. And tonight, sources in the EPA dispute that. But only one person can ask him to go, the president. And tonight, he's standing by Pruitt. ABC's Mary Bruce is at the EPA tonight.
Mired in controversy, EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt sat down with President Trump today in the Oval Office. refuses to say what comes next.
No one other than the president has the authority to hire and fire members of his cabinet. It's a decision that he'll make.
Tonight, new questions about why two of Pruitt's top aides got hefty raises even after the White House refused to sign off. In a contentious interview with Fox News, Pruitt claimed he knew nothing about it.
I found out about that yesterday and I changed it.
Who did it?
It may be there would be some accountability.
A career person or a political person?
I'll have to. I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know? You run the agency. You don't know who did this?
I found out about this yesterday, and I corrected the action.
But now EPA officials tell ABC News that's not true. They say Pruitt knew about and supported the raises. One aide receiving a nearly $57,000 salary increase. No cabinet secretary in recent memory has been the subject of so many ethical concerns on so many fronts. From his penchant for luxury travel on the taxpayer dime, to spending $43,000 on a secure phone booth for his office, to questions about his relationship with a D.C. lobbyist and that alleged sweetheart real estate deal that let him pay just $50 a night for this D.C. apartment. Pruitt says the scrutiny is all part of an effort to sabotage the Trump agenda.
And anytime that you do transformational things, there are critics and there are people that come against you in that regard.
Tonight, sources familiar with the thinking inside the West Wing tell us White House Chief of Staff John Kelly wants Pruitt gone. The president is still standing by him.
And Mary Bruce joins us from out in front of the EPA. And Mary, President Trump tweeting today that Scott Pruitt is doing a great job but is totally under siege.
Tom, Pruitt has long been one of the president's favorites. He's carrying out the tough work here that Trump wants, rolling back regulations. But sources tonight tell us the president is growing frustrated with all this controversy. Tom?
Mary Bruce with that new reporting tonight. Mary, thank you. Next, let's turn to weather, and there is severe weather watches tonight, and we're bracing for storms from coast to coast. Wintry weather in Denver, ground crews using snow blowers to clear the fields there, and heavy rain expected at Yosemite. Campgrounds closed to visitors. The heavy rain coming up from the Gulf Coast as sub-freezing wind chills take a hold of a wide stretch of the country. ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano is in Washington, D.C., where the cherry blossoms are under threat of snow. Rob, good evening.
Hey, good evening, Tom. The same system that could bring a little bit of snow here in D.C. tomorrow is bringing severe weather across the south. From Dallas across northern Louisiana, we have got tornado and severe thunderstorm watches that are posted, and they're up until midnight tonight. And watch as this thing makes its way along the cold front. It will mix with some colder air, so another 1 to 3 inches of spring snow across the Tennessee Valley and then across parts of Virginia, and more storms across the south. Behind this record-breaking cold, wind chills will be below zero in some parts of the country on Saturday, and then much of the east, including the deep south, below the freezing mark, and a serious storm slamming the west coast right now with wind and rain. Tom?
Rob Marciano for us. Rob, thank you. Next, professional fighter Conor McGregor now has a court battle on his hands. He was charged in a Brooklyn court today for a violent attack on a busload of other fighters. Take a look, injuring 2 of them whose bouts are now canceled because of this. Tonight, the sport is also weighing punishment, ABC's Adrian Bankert, on what might have set McGregor off.
Conor McGregor, one of UFC's biggest names, in court, facing a judge after a melee outside the Barclays Center in New York. In this video obtained by TMZ Sports, police say McGregor committed assault, tossing this handcart into a bus full of other fighters who are watching, stunned. The glass shatters. You can see McGregor try to get in. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Stopped while attempting to throw a metal railing.
Who are these guys? This is McGregor. It's Conor.
As another Irish fighter throws a chair at the bus and allegedly assaults an employee who tries to stop him. The outburst reportedly stems from bad blood between McGregor, his friend, and a Russian fighter vying to take the lightweight title McGregor was stripped of prior to the incident.
From what we understand, the person who we had the dispute with or was arguing with was not injured.
McGregor's been charged with 3 counts of assault and 1 count of criminal felony mischief. Now released on $50,000 bond as he awaits consequences from the UFC.
Tom, 2 of the fighters on board that bus suffered cuts due to the broken glass. In fact, 3 of the matches scheduled here on Saturday are canceled because of what went down. Tom?
Adrian Bankert for us. Adrian, thank you. And tonight, Facebook announcing new transparency steps to let users know who's behind the political and issue ads they see on Facebook and on Instagram. Those posts will be clearly labeled and will show who paid for them. Posters of those ads will also have to prove their identity. At the same time, Facebook confirmed today that they secretly deleted messages from the inboxes of people that CEO Mark Zuckerberg had sent to them, citing corporate security. That's raising new questions about breach of trust. On Tuesday, Zuckerberg is slated to testify on Capitol Hill. And the U.S. Treasury Department issuing a new round of sanctions on Russian interests for meddling in the 2016 election. Those sanctions on 7 oligarchs, 12 companies they own or control, and 17 senior Russian government officials, all of them close to Vladimir Putin. The Treasury citing, quote, worldwide malign activity such as the occupation of Crimea and in Syria, as well as the election meddling. Next, an ABC News exclusive from the Russia investigation. New questions tonight about the testimony of Erik Prince, a major Trump campaign supporter, about a meeting he had with a Russian banker just before the inauguration at an exotic resort in the Seychelles. Prince told Congress it was a coincidence, but sources say the special counsel has evidence that suggests it was planned. Here's ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas.
This is Erik Prince, the founder of the security company Blackwater and the brother of Education Secretary Betsy DeVos. Sources allege he was also a liaison between the Trump transition and the Russian government, something he emphatically denies. Here's Prince leaving a closed session with congressional investigators, clearly annoyed.
I've already wasted 4 hours of my life on that.
Tonight, sources tell ABC News the special counsel has obtained evidence that may conflict with Prince's sworn testimony. At issue, a meeting Prince attended at this exotic Seychelles resort just 2 weeks before the inauguration. Also there, a Russian banker with ties to the Kremlin. Prince has said his meeting with the Russian banker was unplanned, a chance encounter while on a business trip.
I happened to be there, and I met a Russian, some fund manager. I can't even remember his name. We didn't exchange cards.
He remembered the Russian's name when speaking to those congressional investigators several months later. Prince said he traveled to meet with some potential customers, and they, quote, mentioned a guy I should meet who was also in town to see them, a Kirill Dmitriev from Russia, who ran some sort of hedge fund. So I met him in the bar. We talked for 30 minutes over a beer, and that was it. But there's another version of this story, and it involves George Nader, a Lebanese-American businessman who sources say is cooperating with the special counsel, interviewed 4 times by Mueller's grand jury. Those sources say Nader set up the Seychelles meeting between Prince and the Russian banker specifically to launch conversations between the Trump transition and Russian government officials.
When people talk about whether there was a possible back channel or anybody, all of that, you're saying no, off the table.
Complete hogwash.
But sources familiar with the special counsel's investigation tell ABC News his team has obtained evidence from Nader that suggests he met with Prince at the Pierre Hotel in New York City a week before the Seychelles meeting. Sources say that evidence, documents that reveal within hours of the New York City meeting, Nader started sending messages to Prince with the bio of the Russian banker, showing he was a powerful Putin ally. Just a week later, Prince was in the Seychelles having a beer with that Russian banker, a meeting he said was unplanned. Prince has said he was not representing the Trump transition, and his spokesman told us he stands by his testimony before Congress. Tom?
Pierre, thank you. The FBI and other federal agencies shutting down the classified ad website Backpage.com. Authorities blocking access to the website, posting this announcement instead. Backpage has been under fire for years for allowing adult ads for sex workers and for allegedly enabling the sexual exploitation of minors. Next tonight, the Menendez brothers reunited in prison. Lyle and Eric Menendez convicted of killing their parents in a case that made national headlines. The two seen each other for the first time in more than 20 years. Here's ABC's Whit Johnson.
Tonight, reunited behind bars, the Menendez brothers serving life sentences for murdering their parents inside the family's Beverly Hills mansion. Their 1996 interview with Barbara Walters, one of their last times together.
I'm just a normal kid.
Oh, Eric, you're a normal kid who killed your parents.
Back then, a detective arguing the partners in crime might conspire to escape. Now, prison officials allowing the infamous brothers to both live inside this San Diego prison.
Lyle burst into tears, and Eric burst into tears, and they hugged each other for several minutes.
Lyle and Eric testifying they were molested by their father.
He would fondle me.
But prosecutors argued the brothers were merely desperate for their parents' fortune. Over the years, their only communication, letters.
It's marvelous that they're able to look at each other and love each other.
Lyle's move to be reunited with his brother in San Diego comes after 5 failed attempts. Tom?
Whit Johnson for us tonight. Whit, thank you. And there's still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Friday. Misery at sea. Passengers posting pictures of their 2 weeks at sea, complaining their cruise ship was